The Eternal Away Game by S.D. Wickett. Have you ever been to an away game? Ever felt the feeling of being outnumbered, hopelessly outgunned, in hostile territory? Have you ever felt the roar of the opposition so loud that it shakes the ground beneath your feet, and known in that moment that you are powerless to stop any aggression against you? We, as dissidents, have always been in an away game on the platforms we use. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter are all owned and operated by hostile forces who, when the iron is hot, will strike in unison. These platforms are where we have built our online lives and the hubs of our dissent. I have used the Silicon Valley platforms to start and grow the podcasts I devote my life and time to. My colleagues at Bournbrook have used these platforms to launch this magazine. It was on these platforms I was recommended to interview Mr. Michael Curzon, and it was here that we decided to work together. Bournbrook Digital, our podcasts, Bullseyes and Booze, and whatever we decide to do next, were all possible because we operate in hostile territory, yet that now feels more tenuous than ever. In February of 2019, the now former CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience. While Rogan received some flack for his light questioning and buddyish demeanour towards an individual who seemed to deny the obvious reality of Twitter's one-sided censorship, the appearance means something. No total operative of the regime would dare make an appearance on such a podcast, which has given a soapbox to persona non grata such as Alex Jones, Carl Benjamin, and Dr. Jordan Peterson. What this tells me, though I may be wrong, is that Jack Dorsey is only 2/3 compromised. It is within that remaining 1/3 that myself, my colleagues, friends, and fellow travellers have cultivated a platform of their own, mostly free or at least unnoticed by the moralistic tyranny of the regime. While deeply flawed and with obvious progressive leanings, Jack Dorsey seems to be somewhat uncomfortable with the excessive censorship of his bedfellows. I always got the impression that in many instances he had been strong-armed into action by the more radical operatives within Twitter HQ. At least in its inception, Twitter was a platform dedicated to freedom of speech and dissent. Twitter supported, at least ostensibly, the Green Revolution in Iran and the Arab Spring. Dorsey met with President Trump civilly, as he put it. He donated to the presidential campaigns of Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang. Democrats, sure, but Democrats who operate outside of the DNC regime apparatus. He is a cryptocurrency enthusiast. He criticized the precedent set by his own platform's permanent banning of Donald Trump. And now he's gone. Whether he jumped or was pushed or jumped before he was pushed, Dorsey has stepped down from the corner office at Twitter, and now it seems that the floodgates are about to open. It seems glaringly apparent now that while a progressive and a Democrat, Dorsey held the darker elements of Twitter at bay. All-out war on dissident voices. He has been replaced by CTO Parag Agrawal. Past comments by Agrawal should spark concerns among any anti-regime actor. When asked about freedom of speech, Agrawal said, "Our role is not to be bound by the First Amendment, but our role is to serve a healthy public conversation, focus less on thinking about free speech, but thinking about how the times have changed." Times have changed. Already the jackboot of Twitter's new regime has been firmly planted. Within what seems like moments, Twitter announced a new policy aimed at, quote, not allowing the sharing of private media, such as images or videos of private individuals, without their consent. Sounds good, right? Wrong. Rather than prevent users from revealing the faces and identities of private individuals, which will doubtless continue to be selectively allowed, this will be used to prevent the public from seeing what happens at protests or crime scenes. What constitutes public interest and what can be shown online will be down to arbitrary decisions made by monolithic tech agencies, the apparati of which are unmistakably social colonies of progressivism. What will inevitably be left is a crime that all are guilty of, which is enforced selectively on the lines of the friend-enemy distinction. The Soviet Union employed a tactic not too dissimilar, with severe punishments including execution for anti-Soviet behaviour. What constituted anti-Soviet behaviour was left purposefully ambiguous, yet when the time came for a dissident or out-of-line general to be punished, its definition was as clear as day. Twitter has been a home and a haven for most of us in the dissident camp. Chances are you are reading Bournbrook magazine or listening to this essay or one of our podcasts because you found us on Twitter. It's where we have laughed, debated, and refined our thoughts. It is where we have consoled each other after defeats and celebrated after victories. But as the away game grows further from home, it may be time to prepare the lifeboats. Thank you for listening to this Bournbrook essay. You can read our print issues and online articles at bournbrookmag.com, and you can support Bournbrook at bournbrookmag.com/subscribe.